Okay, managing problems of ornamental plants. We have a number of potential damages from very large group of things to roots, trunks. We can have construction damage, lightning damage, sun, freeze damage, storm damage. So we're going to talk about those briefly. So damage to roots, sometimes we have exposed roots that grow on the surface. We can get those damaged by mowers, uh, pedestrian traffic. We might have issues with septic tanks, damage to sidewalks and asphalt. We may have tree stumps. We may have trenching that occurs around trees, covered root systems where we have to add soil, and then changes in soil grade. So damage to trunks can occur from a variety of things, mechanical damage like string trimmers and mowers. Could be overly wet soils because of irrigation or runoff, or too much mulch placed on the trunk, which might cause for disease to occur, and then we get the presence of conchs. So conchs are fruiting bodies that signal internal decay in the trunk. Whenever we see this, we have a serious problem that's occurring inside the tree, and we need to deal with that. Changes in grade can occur as a result of construction. We may also have compaction. Compaction is very damaging to existing trees. We may have to trench for new utilities if we have a construction area. We should develop protection systems for those trees to eliminate these hazards, and then recognize that anytime we have stress that's been created, we may induce insect and diseases coming in. Lightning damage may occur in some regions, and that may result in fire, complete destruction of the tree as a result of fire or explosion, or we may have internal damage that may not really show up for years. Now, in your text, it shows this photo. This looks like it was a significant lightning strike. It looked to have hit the inclusion, and a portion of the tree failed as a result. Freeze damage typically occurs in trees as a result of rupturing of the cell tissue. It can also occur when the root ball can't take water up because it's frozen, and the upper part of the tree or shrub dries out. We call this desiccation. Or we could have late freezing after flower and leaf buds develop and cause significant damage to the new growth. So for freeze damage, we can do prevention by proper plant selection or plant placement, avoiding late season fertilization. We want to supply ample water prior to freezing to make sure that the plant doesn't desiccate during that freezing period. We can cover plants or put mulches on to protect roots and trunks. So here's sun damage. This typically occurs in western or southern exposures. It reduces the ability of the trunk to take water and nutrients up, and also is a entry point for borers to occur. Forms of tree stress that might be manifested include leaf yellowing, generally referred to as chlorosis, premature leaf loss or shedding, bark shedding, which, as I mentioned earlier, could be normal or abnormal, as in the previous slide, leaf loss, as new growth emerges. Sometimes that happens with certain species. Gummosis or wilting, twig or branch dieback. So we have some examples here on the left. This is an example of chlorosis where the foliage is yellowed. This is typically the result of a nutrient condition or deficiency. Often occurs in new growth, as depicted in the ash tree in the center. And then we also have the gummosis on the tree on the right. This condition might be a result of rapid growth. It could be the result of borers. It just depends. So gummosis is not always indicative of a problem. It may be just the result of fast trunk expansion. So we went through that pretty quickly. There's a lot of material in there, but I think you got some visual aids in determining what some of these components are and some of these topics and definitions. So hopefully that helps you tremendously with the woody ornamental plant section. And then later on, we're going to have an opportunity to do questions and answers on this. And I'm sure Caitlin will explain how that's going to work. It's been a pleasure talking to you today, and we'll see you next time. Happy gardening.